So beyond your martial arts skills, you are also the global CTO and chief AI officer at Dell. You're responsible for establishing the company's future-looking tech strategy and accelerating AI adoption for Dell and its customers. In a recent Fortune article, you said that ROI, return on investment, is the first and most important question before funding an AI project. Do you want to talk a bit more about why that is so paramount?
Yeah, it's in the early days of Gen AI, let's say 2.5 years ago, we got very excited about everything that you could do with it. And the things were kind of abstract. They were things without context. I can access the entire internet and ask any question I want. And all of that's great, but at the end of the day, if you're in a business, the things you do probably ought to be connected to the desired outcome of your business, which usually, if you're a commercial entity, it's about profit, revenue, margin, cost reduction, things of that nature are kind of important to you. And so what we've learned is, while there's a lot of enthusiasm about coming up with many theoretical uses of the technology is only useful if it actually does something that has meaning to the entity you belong to, in case of Dell, we very much care about the commercial success of the company. If you're a university, I was just talking to a bunch of university CIOs this morning, you care about educational outcomes. So at the core of every technology, AI or not, there's got to be a purpose of doing it. And so with what I said in that article is, look, it's great to understand the technology. It's great to see the art of the possible. But at the end of the day, the decisions you have to make about what you actually do, where do you actually, does the rubber meet the road? Do you apply resources? Should be that the technology is actually being applied in service of an outcome. And that outcome is usually very much correlated to a process that you could improve that will make your business better in a measurable way. If you have a sales force doing AI that, I don't know, makes your sales force spend more time with customers, which is something we did, is a very good idea. Doing AI that makes your sales force slightly happier and more engaged is kind of meaningless unless you can measure it. So this connection between material ROI and your AI activities is actually essential if you really want your AI strategy to be meaningful.
Yeah, we dug up in our research. Our researcher, Serge Massis, he gets really deep into some things that you've said or written in the past. He said that there was an instance where this is probably the same time period, but I'm going to put some quantities to this. You discussed, when Gen AI first started to become really powerful 2 or 3 years ago, you received 800 generative AI ideas from Dell employees, and you narrowed it down to just 8. So you took 1% of those ideas. Do you want to fill us more in on that process? Yeah.
There's a lot to that story, but so here's what happened. So Gen AI occurs, and so the Chat GPT moment. You have this new tool that honestly, I've been working with large language models before that, and I knew what they could do. But when that came out, my head of research sent it to me right as it was released. Said, "You got to look at this thing," before it was even in the mainstream, and I'm like, this is really interesting. This is better than I've ever seen with Roberta and BERT and earlier tools. So it came out, and then, I work in a company that there's a guy whose name's on the building who's very engaged and excited about technology. And he sent a note to the whole company and said, this is important, which is absolutely true. And then, very quickly, about 800 ideas showed up about, this is all the stuff we could do with it. And I have kind of a bit of a running joke that, I'll apologize for non-technical people. They won't get this maybe as much as us geeks. When we went and looked at those ideas, what we concluded is, a bunch of people got together in groups, maybe individually, but probably in groups to kind of ideate about what you could do with this. And the only real qualification to be in that meeting was that they probably all saw at least one episode of Star Trek. Because the ideas were interesting, but they didn't align to the actual technology in most cases. I want to build the holodeck. I want an AI that will replace salespeople. And there's nothing wrong with that. It created the art of the possible. That was the unlocking of AI. People started to realize this could be meaningful. But if you start with that, if you have 800 projects that are every idea you could imagine, completely unvetted, not grounded in reality, where do you go? And so the journey we went on initially we tried to take 800 and find the ones that would matter, and we concluded you couldn't. It was too hard because you just didn't have context. And so we actually ended up flipping the model. We didn't throw away the 800, but we asked a different question. We said, where should we apply this? Not where could we apply it? And that flipped the model to go to that ROI discussion we just had, which we said, well, why are we doing this in the first place? We're doing this to make Dell a more successful company. And how do we measure that? We measure that in profit and revenue and cost and regulatory risk. Okay, let's focus on those things. And then we said, well, where should we target? And we picked these core 4 areas of supply chain, sales, services, and engineering. And then we said, okay, within that, what is it about those that we could make better? Like make our salespeople more productive by freeing up time that they spend preparing, or make our engineers code better. And that led us to kind of connect the 2 dots, because what we probably found in most cases was there were ideas in there about how we could improve the seller's content preparation phase, which is really the biggest impact we could have, or where we could focus in engineering. Could we do QA or product management or core coding? It led us back to core coding. And so this is every company I talk to, every customer I talk to has exactly the same scenario. They have this abundance of ideas. And the real challenge is, okay, where do you figure out where to start? Because you can't do 800 of these things. If you'd done 800, you would still be debating 800 ideas and have nothing into production. Today, we have things in production. They impact our business in a positive way. We got over the finish line. But yeah, it was a fun journey. And I will tell you, whether the number's 800 or 500 or 1,000, every single customer I talked to went on that journey and is probably still kind of stuck in the process of trying to figure out how do you extract or find the place to start. It sounds really simple, but with infinite surface area, finding the actual place to begin when every idea is probably pretty good is incredibly hard. But you can't do 800 concurrent AI projects. It's just not possible for even the biggest companies in the world.